This is Von Clement, and this is a tour of the IT Management or Information Technology. This application was designed for the custodians of the assets in a company, can track every asset, including software, hardware, or anything that is connected to a IT item, and then also to manage technical support and any kind of documentation support for the products that are included in your company's IT organization. Let's start out by looking at the IT asset. In this particular case, there's a record where an asset is identified, and basically in this part where it says asset data, you put the basic information for the IT asset. Then there is what are called optional fields. Optional fields are actually UDF fields. What that means is that if you have a particular thing that needs a lot of different individual or unique fields to describe it, you can add a title and then add an input field below it. If you continue using the same asset information through different records, you can do a repeat of this, say like maybe 1, 2, or 3 records for something that you repeat for everything. And then you can use those in a find if you want to go find a particular record with a certain asset information. The rest of these fields are all open to add whatever kind of data you want. It could be something about bandwidth, or it can be anything that's important about that particular asset. The next thing down is to take free-form information as far as a text input, and this you can scroll as far as you want to add as much data as you want in this field. The next one is if you do support calls, either by chat or by going to a website or telephone or email, you could track each support item that you did, and this is the information that you're going to be using. For example, it has a support ID that's added by the computer. It has a telephone, customer service email, manufacturer sale if it's a manufacturer email support item, the actual support date, the support time, the support tech that you talked to, the support issue, and a little narrative about the support information that you needed, and then a status block. What is the latest status on this particular support call? If you want to see it in a larger form, you can click on this icon right here. It'll take you to a bigger screen where you can see this information in more detail. Since this is a portal, you can add as many records to the portal as you want. You scroll down. Every time you add a new record, it also adds another following blank record with it. Same thing on the record below this. This is asset custody. This is these assets up here and where they're actually assigned to. So if you had a number of these here and you were assigning them to individual people, this is where they're actually assigned in your company. You have the installed description of the item in detail, the assigned user, the part number of the item, the installed date, who installed it, what data may have been removed, the item condition, new, whatever, and these are used a lot of times are drop downs. Then there's a number of UDF fields here. These UDF fields allow you to be very creative about how you use the information about the custody. Some assets have different needs or different information that needs to be tracked, so the UDF fields give you the ability to modify the fields and put what you think you need in there. For example, a tested by. If it's tested, that's an unusual thing. Here's a MAC address or a segment that it is in the network, or the administrator of that particular product, or a router ID. So there's a lot of stuff that you can add in here that is freelanceable as far as the way you set it up. If you repeat any of these fields in all records, then you could use the find up here to find those records that have that particular item. Or if you repeat anything more than once, if you do a find, it's going to find that item in this input field. Or you can even actually use the header field if you want to go find department for everybody that has a department in there assigned in the user-defined fields. Let's move on, and we're going to talk about custody. The actual custody record is the individual record from the portal that explains who actually has this item in the narrative for it. Okay, and these are not, anytime you see a lock where it's locked like this, it means that you do not create the record here. You actually create it in the portal. So that would be the original location for it. You'll also notice that up here there's a table icon. So if you click on this, you'll get a table of all the custody records. So you can pick a particular record to go in and look at it by the date it was assigned and the part number and the item ID for information. So you can pick a record like this one that had all the record information in it and keep a track of the custody as far as the item is concerned. Then there's user data. You want to create a new user record for every person that's in your organization. That will show, once again, the UDF fields for information that you might want to carry as far as that particular person. And also, again, another freelance field. And then down here, this would be the user support, again, where you might have user support on the item. And down here, it's user software portal. Down here, you would put all the software or support software that is needed to support this particular person for the item that you're actually assigning. So and by the way, this is also user support issues. So if a user comes to the IT group or has gone out for support as a user, this gives the information the user is asked for, either from them to the IT group or from them to an outside support organization, either chat, email, or whatever. So that's the records for the individuals. And again, there are large records that you can go to the larger screen. Let's go to a software screen and look at that. It's quite similar to the other ones that we were looking at. And again, you don't create records here, but you can look up information for these records in this screen. Go back to user again. Now let's go to manufacturer support. Basically, manufacturer support is a record of all the manufacturer support that's been requested in a portal record, individual portal record. And again, like the other one, you can look at the individual calls or support items in a list view. And you can print them from here if you need to. Each individual record would have that call or that chat or whatever in that record. Let's talk about an individual support thing where the users and also IT can add to the knowledge base. These fields can be edited or information can be taken from a support site or forum or whatever the source is. It could be a manual where somebody is asked a question of support, and because it may repeat or it's a good question, you add basically the problem description, the problem solution, the problem technical data in it if there are issues as far as numerical values or something that's particular to the question that is asked. If you add the data, you kind of try to answer them from left to right, giving information on them. And then if there was testing involved, you can go through and itemize the testing as far as each step and how you actually tested it to prove the correction or to find a problem that came up with a service issue where it had to be serviced. Again, there's an icon here that allows you to blow the screen up so you can see it in full screen force, where these are full-length scrollable fields, so if there's a lot of data, you can read it that way. Once again, do not add records in these things. Use the portal in the last record we were just looking at. So you would add it here in the portal, and then it would add a new record when you go to look at the blow-up screen for it. Okay, this is an overview, once again, of this IT management software. Now, it didn't cover all the detail, so what I do is suggest that you download or view the user guide online on the website. Thank you for taking the tour.